Thank you for having me. I'm going to go ahead and start my time. I am Savannah Williams, and I like to put Maria in there so y'all know I'm Mexican. But first of all, thank you to Joanna, wherever she's at. Where's Joanna? And, really quick, as somebody who is, doing events, right, and putting them on and executing them beautifully, I want to just go ahead and give Joanna a hand of applause. And then also the executive board, who I love dearly. There are obviously some of them who I just met, but I really appreciate you ladies and thank you so much. And then also you ladies who attended, because obviously this is a fundraiser, and so that we're able to contribute to She Became. And like they said, if you're able to be involved, do that, because we need this for our young ladies in our community, but not only our young ladies, but for ourselves. And if you see here, this is women here, this isn't young ladies, right? So we're here to be able to be empowered, to be fed, and to be able to go back. So thank you ladies for being here. So let's give it up for everybody here. Okay, so, I was thinking, so we're in International Women's History Month, right? And so I was thinking, okay, so what am I going to talk about? And I definitely wanted to make sure that God was going to lead me in this. And it's funny because I thought I was going to come with this deep message, like God help me and, let me speak to these women. But it's not that. It's more of like what has been going on in years, since we have been alive and not alive. And so when we think about history, what do you think about? When you actually look it up, what do you see? It's about him. It's about that man. It's about this guy, And so I thought that was pretty interesting. And so I looked further and I said, okay, so who are the famous people in history? And you guys are gonna be blown away like I was. 8 people. Okay, obviously there's a lot of different, websites I can go to, but it was 8 people on one of them that really just got my attention. 8 people, and guess how many out of those 8 people were women? Anybody?
1.
2. Somebody said 2. Okay, so the crazy part is that out of those 8 people was Susan Anthony, who spent her life fighting for women's issues, right? This is really what it says. Nothing to take away from who they are, because literally, these women have been, pivotal. And then Amelia Earhart, who I believe a lot of us know about, who is a well-known female pilot in American history. So that is 25%. And this is, let me go ahead and shock you a little bit further. This is in the 21st century. So the 21st century, and I had to look that up, is 2001 to 2100. And they put 8 people. First of all, ridiculous. Second of all, that there is only 2 women. I'm sure that some of you Latinas can call out, right, some leaders in our heritage that stood up and that are historical in the 21st century, as well as African American women who could even say, and we can even go further and to say that there are some Caucasian women that have also been pivotal in our history, but why are we not talked about so much?
Yeah.
It's because, and this is, what I've been, kind of just in my little study is, and I'm not trying to go against it, but it's because it's his story. So all of these stories of Christopher Columbus, Abraham Lincoln, and Martin Luther King, and all these people, they're all men. So why is it that women still, even today in the 21st century, aren't being put up into the accolades, into the achievements, into the heights of actually being great, heroic women? It's pretty interesting, right? So I decided that we all have a story. And since we're all women here, I'm sure that all of you have been able to become HERstory in your family. I have been able to do that I graduated as a first valedictorian of both my Latino and my Black side of my family. My story is that I was able to play college basketball because that is my passion and my drive, and that hasn't happened in my family. I was also able to graduate as the first in my immediate family. So every single day, every single year, we are creating, we are making HERstory. And it's not talked about so much, it's not looked upon so much. But why is that going to stop us from being able to say, you know what? We're done. We want to be able to speak about it. We want to be able to be celebrated. And so this month I said, I love it because Joanna and She Became is taking a stand to celebrate the women in our community. So I am honored today to be able to, be asked to speak, to be able to say, Savannah, go ahead and, give us your message. And I really appreciate that. The one thing that I wanted to tell you guys is that when it comes to my motivation and how I'm creating my story as a woman comes from basketball. And obviously you can see that, right? I wasn't able to play basketball in my elementary and high school years because I went to a private school that did not allow basketball to be played in an organized way. However, we did play basketball once a year with alumni. So these are women, now they're women, right? They done got pregnant, they have kids. So we are, these young chickens, as you say, playing these women. And so how do you think that turned out? We would beat them every single time. So that wasn't so competitive and it wasn't so organized. However, I was able to go to Modesto Junior College. I tried out for the team and I made the team. So in that part as well, I was able to make history in my family, but not only in my family, but in the stereotypes of if you do not play or if you do not do certain things, then you cannot be this. So I was able to break that because of the passion and the drive that I have. And I believe that every single one of you ladies here today have that because you are here today. You have that passion, you have that drive. So how can we individually, and I know so many of you here, and I'm looking at your faces that are doing this in our community, but how can we collectively come together to be able to break the barriers? And obviously that is happening daily, right? But why isn't it being showcased? Why isn't it being, celebrated as it should? So in our community, let's just start there. Let's start with Modesto. How can we get more women in tech? How can we get more girls in tech? How can we get females, period, to be able to come together, to empower each other, to lift each other up? And these are the moments, which is the organizations She Became, and there's other organizations within our community that we can do that with. So the last thing is that I am so grateful for the fact that when it comes to my situation, there is nothing that's going to stop me because I've been hurt so bad. I've been in situations where I don't think that I was going to be able to get out of. But now I'm a businesswoman. Now I'm a brand creator. Now there's things that God has been able to instill in me. And the only reason I'm able to do that is because of my spiritual guidance. So if anything, if tonight is that you get the fact that mental health is great and I love to speak about it. But if you do not have that spiritual health, then you are going to be definitely left behind in the fact of you being a successful woman. So There was something that I wanted to do. It's not gonna work out, but I wanted you ladies to get a word. And the word was like windshield wipers, elevator, very, specific objects. But these were actually women that invented these. So I wanted you to get in groups of 6 and to say, okay, so what life lessons can we learn from that? So the life lesson from basketball for me is that offense, defense. You have to play offense, but what is so much more important is defense. Because sometimes you're not going to be able to show up. You're going to sleep. You're going to be in so much pain. You're going to be in situations that you feel like you can't get out of. But if you continue to play that defense, you continue to play your role. You continue to play the fact that, you know what, I'm going to win. I'm going to succeed. Then you will always be able to come back from the craziest, largest deficit ever. Right now we're in March Madness. There's young women right now that are creating history, and I love that so much. So for us, let's create that history. I have one poem to leave with you. It's called Whoa Man. Whoa Man, that's what you can call her, because she's that magical woman. And woe is she the greatest addition to man. She is everything that can. A daughter, a sister, an auntie, a wife, or a forever mother, because she births opportunities like no other. She grinds, she cooks, she cleans, and she shows her babies what it means to be that queen. She rules her world, sitting pretty up on her throne, fierce, brilliant, and bold. And on top of that, her king cherishes her more than gold. She stands tall for her people and always musters up the strength even when she's feeble. And this is how you know that she is absolutely wonderful. And oh, when she spreads her wings, it's a longer than a lifespan. Catch her if you can. Who is she? She is me. She is you. We are whoa, man. So I leave this with you. The history is great, but we are very rarely written in that. So let's make her story.